the Supreme Court arguments on whether former President Trump should be removed from the Colorado ballot. As you could probably expect, Donald Trump is firing back at the assertion his name should not be on the ballot. The former president speaking a short time ago at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida.
Donald Trump's defense built its legal arguments on his immunity, based on the fact that the former White House master was serving as president at the time. They suggest that he cannot be prosecuted for actions he took in the highest office of the state. He has immunity, and the fact that they cannot deny him the opportunity to become president is true.
Well, I'm a believer in our country, and I'm a believer in the Supreme Court. I listened today, and I thought our arguments were very, very strong. Can you take the person that's leading everywhere and say, hey, we're not going to let you run? You know, I think that's pretty tough to do, but I'm leaving it up to the Supreme Court.
On Tuesday, February 6th, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the U.S. Federal District of Columbia Circuit ruled that former U.S. President Donald Trump is not immune from criminal prosecution as part of the charges against him. These include unlawfully attempting to retain power by obstructing the certification of the outcome of the 2020 U.S. presidential election and provoking the storming of the Capitol on January 6, 2021. In total, Trump is charged with 4 counts, and the maximum penalty for the most serious of the crimes charged against him is 20 years in prison. Complete nonsense on the merits, and I can't agree with it.
Right, absolutely. And if, in fact, the Supreme Court rejects the Colorado Supreme Court's decision, of course, Donald Trump will continue to appear on the ballots across the country. After today, still only 3.8% of the delegates nationally will have been allocated after these first 3 voting states. But I think it's important what we heard from Donald Trump down in Mar-a-Lago after the Supreme Court's oral arguments today, because it goes beyond just the actual question of whether he can appear on the ballot or not, but it also hits at the heart of what a future Donald Trump presidency in the White House come 2025 could look like. What you heard from his remarks there at Mar-a-Lago was one, when he talked about the insurrection, he said even if it was an insurrection, he placed the blame on Nancy Pelosi. Again,
the prosecution expressed hope that Trump would be convicted. The stakes are higher than ever, because the cold, hard truth is that what happened on January 6 could happen again, said Joe Neguse, a spokesman for the prosecution, referring to the storming of the Capitol that the former president is accused of involvement in. But Trump claims Nancy Pelosi was also responsible. In my opinion, these are just empty words of the court, and they have no value because we know that Trump will still run for president again.
Well, I can say presidential immunity, which we'll be talking about because that will be upcoming, is very, very important for a president to have. If a president doesn't have immunity, he really doesn't have a presidency. He can be told to do things that he would never do. He can do really bad things for our country. Presidential immunity is imperative. It's going to be very, very important. And I'd rather talk about that next week. But there is nothing more important to a presidency than immunity, because they have to be free to make decisions without saying, oh, if I do this, or if I do that, as soon as I get out of office, we're going to be indicted, we're going to have trouble.
Trump said the right things. It's very important for him and his company. He can't get elected if he doesn't have presidency immunity. They might as well put him in jail and not give him a chance to prove himself. Now Trump's lawyers are fully working to make sure that the law allows him to continue to run so that he can be president in the future.
Well, I'm a believer in our country, and I'm a believer in the Supreme Court. I listened today, and I thought our arguments were very, very strong. An argument that is very important is the fact that you're leading in every race, you're leading in every state, you're leading in the country against both Republican and Democrat. And Biden, you're leading in the country by a lot. And can you take the person that's leading everywhere and say, hey, we're not going to let you run? You know, I think that's pretty tough to do, but I'm leaving it up to the Supreme Court. Thank you all very much. Enjoy it. Thank you.
We really need to support Trump at such a difficult time. The court can't decide this because the people know it's all rigged, so Biden can win, but it won't happen. Trump chooses his words carefully and does not make loud statements because it is important for him to say the right things at this time, and he really believes that the truth will prevail and he will be able to defeat this corrupt system. Friends, what do you think about this? Write your opinion in the comments, and do not forget to watch other shocking news on the channel.